Hello, and welcome to 250 Years of Freedom. Sorry, I've been up all night working on the train, but we'll get through this. This is Episode 5, 1779. Endurance. By 1779, the Revolution had become a marathon of hardship. The thrill of early victories had faded. The outcome was uncertain. The continental dollar lost its value. Supplies ran short. Families grieved as the war dragged into its fourth brutal year. Amid the exhaustion of entering a fourth year of conflict, the spirit of endurance was sending roots deeper into the resolve of the Americans. This was not mere stubbornness, it was conviction. The quiet certainty that the same God who began the work of liberty would finish it in his time. Across the colonies, patience was tested. The British still held New York, and following France joining the war, General Cornwallis focused his efforts on the South. Frontier settlers faced raids by natives who were encouraged by Britain to terrorize Americans so that they would flee east into England's arms. Congress, struggling to fund the army, printed money until inflation devoured it. Yet the soldiers stayed, drilled, marched, fought, and buried friends. Civilians endured privation with courage. Women like Abigail Adams, Mercy Otis Warren, and countless unnamed mothers managed farms and raised children while praying for husbands at the front. Families and communities were split between patriots and loyalists, whose clashes led to some of the bloodiest skirmishes. In this year, the young nation learned that freedom's price was not paid once in blood, but daily in endurance. 1778 had left the war in a stalemate, and the British were looking for a way to turn the tide. Bloody battles ensued as the Continental Army, militia, and French brigades entered a dark period of losses. Savannah fell, a month later, Augusta, then Norfolk. Washington urged his men to hold fast, reminding them that perseverance and spirit have done wonders in all ages. His own steadfast example became the anchor of the Revolution. Many smaller skirmishes were going the Americans' way, like dozens of pinpricks throughout the summer, keeping the Brits uncomfortable. One interesting conflict was a mirror story to Gideon taking on the Midianite army in the Book of Judges. On October 1st, Colonel John White of the 4th Georgia Battalion used ingenuity to capture a British regiment of 111 soldiers one night without a shot being fired. White spotted the Loyalist camp at Savage Station, Georgia. He and his small patrol lit numerous fires and rode in circles, waking the British camp, while shouting orders to create the illusion of a large force, convincing the British to surrender. Israel's endurance in the wilderness, as well as countless times of despair and captivity under one mighty enemy or another, proved similar tests of will and faith. Their journey from Egypt, like America's war, stretched far longer than anyone expected. Yet through trial, God shaped them into a nation ready to inherit his promise. Moses taught, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years to humble and test you." Deuteronomy 8:2. So too did America's trials humble and test her. Each hardship stripped away illusions of ease and left behind strength of character that liberty demands. Where Israel faced deserts of sand, America faced deserts of despair. But both discovered that endurance is faith in motion. Endurance is the unseen miracle of history. Empires rise through conquest. Free nations rise through perseverance. It is easier to storm a hill than to hold a hope. In 1779, there were no grand victories to trumpet, only the quiet courage of men and women who refused to give up. Their reward was not yet visible, but their faith was its own testimony. Every believer knows that God's timetable seldom matches ours. The Apostle Paul wrote, "Let us not be weary of well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." Galatians 6:9. The founders lived that verse. They sowed courage in a season of barrenness, trusting that the harvest of freedom would come. For modern Americans, this year of endurance speaks directly. Liberty must be renewed by patience and principle. as we see more and more Americans today willing to pour out the chalice of freedom paid for and filled with the blood of patriots, unaware of the sacrifice, oblivious to what they stand to lose, and unwilling to render honor to what is sacred, may we call on the same God that Washington humbly sought after and pray heaven's protection over those who oppose evil and persevere with integrity. Reflecting on 1779 allows some consideration for the uncelebrated heroes, the soldiers who marched hungry, the mothers who prayed alone, the patriots who believed when belief was costly. The young Americans didn't sign up for an easy objective, understanding only that which is most precious is worth spilling your blood for, as the cost of freedom proved. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. Psalm 126:5. May that promise remind us that endurance is not simply survival, it is faith proved strong enough to outlast the storm. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in 1780.